Hi guys, Canadian Hunter here. So what I got for you today is honestly what I'm gonna call my prized possession. What this is I'm sure as you could tell, is a Mosin Nagant. But this is a PU Sniper, and I was on the hunt for a very very long time for one of these. And I'm not going to get into tons of detail about, where this one was made and things like that, because quite frankly, I don't remember actually. I've had this gun for a little while. But what I can tell you is that this is not a clone. This is a real, authentic PU Sniper. And one of the first things to look for, this is the first thing everybody says, a big tattletale, is right where the wood is cut out here. Take a look to see whether you can see whether it looks like it's been freshly cut out or not. And when this is taken apart, that's an original cut mark. What I can't tell, what I don't know, I mean, I've looked for numbers matching. This gun is completely numbers matching, except the scope. From what I can tell, the serial number doesn't match the gun, from what I can tell. But other than that, I mean, this is a completely numbers matching gun, and this is not a clone scope either. This is really an authentic scope. And the year on this gun, if I remember correctly, let me look. Yeah, it's a 1943 PU Sniper, and this is a fantastic shooter as well. A lot of guys complain that sort of the Mosin Nagant is sort of a shitty shooting gun, and I've only shot like Chinese surplus ammo out of this thing, which is obviously corrosive, and I clean the gun right away every time. But I don't know the history of this gun, obviously, but all I can tell you is initially at sort of 100 yards, what I did is that the adjustments on these guns, if you don't know anything about them, is the scope's adjusted, and actually it's still adjusted for almost 600 meters. Because last time I was shooting this, that's kind of where I was shooting, was about 550, 600 meters. But when I have this thing at, basically at 1, that's 100 meters, and 0 on this thing, if you want to call it that, I'm going to say is like sort of, I guess, less than 100, so 50 meters. But this out of the box was not set that well. And when you're adjusting this, when you're adjusting the scope, it's actually just moving the reticle up and down or left and right. And I'm a bit OCD. So what I did was I mechanically effectively adjusted the scope. So the way you can do that is the way that the scope gets mounted to the gun, there's little screws that you can tweak. And I really tweaked this until it was pretty close to mechanically set. My windage is still just slightly off. I probably can't even, it doesn't really matter, but I mean, it's almost zeroed. It's just slightly off from 0 on the windage. And, the 100 meters, or 100 yards, I mean, it's at 100, it's so close. Basically, it's pretty much dead on at 100. And, like I say, I took this thing out to 550, 600 meters. I was actually at a range in a neighboring town, and I mean, they have this beautiful range that goes all the way out to they have a gong at 500 meters, and they have some other like targets beyond at like 550 and 6. And we were shooting this thing, and this thing is just deadly accurate. I mean, I was hitting like 10-inch pieces of steel at 556, like not every hit, but I would say 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5 for sure every single time. And I mean, if you've ever looked through a PU scope, I mean, that's a 3.5 power scope, and I mean, it's not the most clear thing you've ever looked through as well. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not great either. And if you're used to like a loopholed scope or anything that's modern, that scope's going to seem absolutely terrible. But I absolutely just love this gun. I'm not going to lie to you, this gun was actually fairly expensive for me. you know, I picked up, I've also got a Mosin Nagant, not a PU, just a standard Mosin, that again is just a fantastic shooter. I've just been lucky, it seems, with guns, which I actually did. I've got the front sight adjustment tool for that one, and I sighted that thing, and that thing's also just deadly accurate. But I picked that one up for like $150. This gun I paid a little bit more. This gun was more like $900 Canadian for this gun. And what I was really hesitant was spending $900 on a gun that might be a clone, and I was really leery. But you know, when I picked this gun up, and I went to, it wasn't in my town. I had to drive to a neighboring town to pick it up, and they had like 3 of them. It was kind of one of those, hey, what's your deal? And the guy kind of looked at me and laughed, because he's like, you know, where are you going to find another PU Sniper that's not a clone? And I kind of agreed, I guess, so I paid him the $900 for it. But the cool thing was I was able to pick between, well, 3 of them. And, you know, as you know, the way surplus is, they all have their sort of, you know, pros and cons to them. And some of them, the stocks are nicer, some of them the metal's a bit nicer. But both myself and the owner of the gun shop agreed this was the best of the 3. And honestly, I gladly paid him the $900 for this gun, and I don't regret it at all. I mean, I absolutely just feel like this is, you know, I always wanted a Mosin Nagant. I mean, ever since, you know, it sounds corny, but ever since the movie Enemy at the Gates, I just always wanted a PU Sniper, and now I got one. And like I say, I didn't want a clone. I could have made one out of the other Mosin that I had, but I wanted a real PU Sniper, and that's it. So I have one, and you know, like I say, this is just really a quick show-off review of really what I'm going to call my, out of all the guns I own, I mean, this is the one, you know, let's put it this way. If my house was burning down, this would be probably the first gun that I would go for, because I just love it that much. But anyway, so that's it, just a quick review. If you guys like this video, you know, as always, please click like, and again, as always, please click subscribe. I keep bringing you guys more and more videos. Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.